Hello vinyl community, this is Randy, back today with another video. I was watching a video just a couple days ago by In the Bass Clef, Steven In the Bass Clef. He was doing one of his regular series videos called Have You Heard? The album that he was featuring in that video was by Clark Terry, I think it was called In Orbit, by Clark Terry. So he was talking a little bit about Riverside Records and how they were sort of I guess the third jazz label, maybe after Blue Note and Prestige, or, I'm not exactly sure how he phrased it, but they just weren't maybe quite as well known, or maybe didn't sell quite as many records as those. So anyway, I started thinking about it, and I figured I would show some Riverside records. So I'm going to show you all the Riverside records that I have here. I don't have that many. So yeah, Riverside, it's a record label that started in 1953 by Bill Grauer, was, I guess, the business side of it, and then Orrin Keepnews was the guy who, I guess, basically produced the albums and wrote the liner notes and stuff like that. So 1953 in New York, they started out, they reissued a lot of albums from like the early days of jazz. So like some, Chicago blues and jazz and things like that. They, I was reading about them in Wikipedia. They also issued some children's records, and they had a couple of interesting records that were like an interview with Carroll Shelby, I guess the guy who sort of invented the Mustang, or had something to do with the Mustang, and also like some soundtrack albums from Sebring Racing and stuff. So some interesting sort of non-musical albums. But they also started producing new jazz albums. So the first one that I have is a Mundell by the Mundell Low Quartet. It also features Dick Hyman on piano and organ, Trigger Alpert on bass, and Ed Shaughnessy on drums. So Mundell Low is obviously a guitar player, very mellow sort of jazz. So most of these records I'm going to show you, almost all of them are reissues. I don't have the original Riverside, so they're almost all original jazz classics reissues. So, and that's what this is. This is a OJC reissue from 1991. This album originally came out in 1955. There's the track listing on that one. Here's what the label looks like. Most of these labels are going to look pretty much like that one, which is a sort of a replica of the original label. Here is one of the two original Riversides that I have. This is Mundell Low Guitar Moods by Mundell Low. So this one, he is playing with just a couple people. Phil Rodner on oboe and English horn, but Trigger Alpert on bass again, and Ed Shaughnessy on drums again. So, and this was recorded, I think both of these were recorded in Hackensack, New Jersey at Rudy Van Gelder's place where so many of these early jazz albums were recorded. So, yeah, here's what the original album label would have looked like. So pretty much like the OJC label, except that this has this part at the bottom here where it says released by Bill Grauer Productions. So, yeah, I was glad to get this one. It sounds excellent. So, yeah, Mundell Low. Ernie Henry was an alto saxophonist. Started in the 40s, I guess, and then got signed to Riverside. He released this album called Presenting Ernie Henry in 1956. This is a 1984 OJC reissue. Once again on that same sort of replica label. Yeah, this album is Ernie Henry on alto sax and Kenny Dorham on trumpet, with Kenny Drew on piano. Kenny Drew was another one of the Riverside artists. Wilbur Ware on bass and Art Taylor on drums. So Ernie Henry and Kenny Dorham working together on that one. They released in 1957, the next year, Two Horns, Two Rhythm. Kenny Dorham Quartet featuring Ernie Henry. So it's those two, and then they have Wilbur Ware on bass and G.T. Hogan on drums. So this is an excellent album. I've listened to this a lot over the years. Yeah, so this is 1957. This is a 1990 OJC reissue. Once again on that same sort of label. Thelonious Monk was one of the biggest stars at Riverside Records, and he released this album called Brilliant Corners in 1957. This is a 2013 OJC reissue. This also features Ernie Henry, the guy that I just showed, who played with Kenny Dorham, and Clark Terry is also featured on this album, along with Sonny Rollins. So, as Stephen mentioned in his video, Thelonious Monk and Sonny Rollins were two of the biggest stars for Riverside when they were getting started. So, yeah, they're both working on that one. This one, pretty much the same, but slightly different coloration on that label. Yeah, so Brilliant Corners. The next one that I have here, this is one of my all-time favorite jazz albums, Mulligan Meets Monk. This has Thelonious Monk, Jerry Mulligan playing baritone sax, Wilbur Ware on bass, and Shadow Wilson on drums. So they play Round Midnight on here, rhythming. My favorite is the last song on side A, Sweet and Lovely, which is a song that Monk recorded several times. This is a really excellent version of it though. So Mulligan Meets Monk. This came out in 1959. This is a 2010 OJC reissue. Same sort of label for that one. And the one other original Riverside that I have is this Cannonball Adderley Quintet in San Francisco. I'm leaving this one inside the plastic because it's the album cover is completely in two parts. So I just leave it in there. But yeah, this is a original. So this has the best Riverside label. It's my favorite Riverside label. I'm glad to have that one. Yeah, Cannonball Adderley Quintet. So yeah, this is a Cannonball with his brother Nat playing there in San Francisco. It's a live album. It's really good live album. You can sort of hear the crowd and stuff. It's in a very small venue there. Recorded live at the Jazz Workshop in San Francisco. So yeah, Cannonball Adderley. That one is from 1960. So and that is the original. Bill Evans, one of the most well-known Riverside artists, and I think this is the third album that he recorded for Riverside. This is with his trio, Paul Motion on drums, Scott LaFaro on bass. So this one came out in 1960. This is a 2011 OJC reissue. Same sort of label there. I have this box set of Bill Evans, the complete Riverside recording. So this is a fantastic box set. This is a CD box set. There's 12 CDs in here. I'd love to have it. Came out on records in 1984. I would love to have that, but pretty hard to find that and kind of expensive too. But yeah, 12 CDs in here, and this is all of Bill Evans' Riverside output. So this also includes like an album, a Cannonball Adderley album that features Bill Evans very heavily. So I'm not going to pull those CDs out and show them to you. But here's the booklet that came in it, and I was just going to show you a couple of pictures here. So here is Bill Evans, and here, this is a cool. This shows every album that he released on the Riverside label. So, for instance, this is actually a Cannonball Adderley album here, but he's featured heavily on it. So that's included in the box set. So here's one called Interplay. So that's sort of a nice picture of all the other albums. And then I just wanted to show you this picture here. Here they are backstage at the Village Vanguard in New York. And this is Orrin Keep News here on the side. So Orrin Keep News with the Bill Evans Trio. And it might have been, well, yeah, I guess that was it. Here they are performing. It doesn't say where that picture is taken now. I'm just not sure where that is. Yeah, so that's Bill Evans on Riverside. And let's see here. Nat Adderley, Cannonball's brother. This is what we're listening to right now. Work Song. This features Wes Montgomery on guitar, Bobby Timmons on piano, Percy Heath and Sam Jones. So this had a big hit song on it called Work Song, which was the first song that we heard when I started the video. So yeah, Nat Adderley. That is from 1960. That's a 2015 reissue. Bags Meets Wes. So Milt Jackson, vibraphonist, and Wes Montgomery, guitar player. Bags Meets Wes. They do Stairway to the Stars on here. Stablemates. Other than that, I think it's some newer songs for this album, but yeah, this is an excellent album. Bags Meets Wes, 1962. This is a 2002 OJC reissue. Once again, that same sort of label. Here's my favorite Bill Evans album that I have. This is also on Riverside. This was included in that box set. I like this one a lot because it's mostly jazz standards. So it's You and the Night and the Music, When You Wish Upon a Star, I'll Never Smile Again, You Go to My Head, and Wrap Your Trouble in Dreams. So the only new song on here is Interplay. The title cut is excellent. So this features Freddie Hubbard on trumpet, Jim Hall on guitar. So Jim Hall worked a lot with Bill Evans. Percy Heath on bass and Philly Joe Jones on drums. So also an excellent album cover on that one. I like that one a lot. So yeah, that one is 1962, and that's a 2015 reissue. Once again, that same sort of label. Wes Montgomery, I think, was one of the first big stars on Riverside. This album was originally released in 1963 as Fusion, and it was called Wes Montgomery with Strings. What I have here is a 1967 reissue. They changed the name of it to In the Wee Small Hours, but it's the exact same album as that Fusion album was. So this is Wes Montgomery with Strings. Sounds really beautiful. It's just more like easy listening music, really, with the strings and everything there. But I think it sounds awesome. I'm a big fan of this record. So, and this is the one label that is different. So I guess Riverside, at some point they, I think in 1963 or 4, they were sold to ABC Records. So this is like an ABC reissue from 1967 of this album. So a totally different label. Then in 1973, I think they were sold to Concord Jazz. So that's when a lot of the OJC reissues started coming out. So Some of the other stars that were on Riverside Records, so Sonny Rollins, I mentioned him, Charlie Bird, Chet Baker, Johnny Griffin, Bobby Timmons, George Russell, Abby Lincoln, Mongo Santa Maria. So there were a lot of big stars on Riverside. It's a big catalog. So yeah, I think I will start maybe looking for a few more of these records. They should be out there. Shouldn't be too hard to find, I think. So that's it. So thanks very much for the idea, Stephen. I'm going to leave a link to Stephen's video down in the description. So I highly recommend that you check that one out. And otherwise, let me know what you think about Riverside. If you have some Riverside records you'd like to show or or comment on, I'm interested to know about that. So I hope everybody's doing well out there. And thanks very much for watching.